Okay. It's kind of dark in here. We're going to try this again. We're going to let Tai check it out. New tripod. Phone's tripping. Come on, girl. Come on.
I think it's perfect. You guys look amazing. Can move over a little bit.
You guys see us this time? Not sideways.
Give us a thumbs up if you can see us.
Give us a thumbs up.
All right.
I can't even see the screen to see if it's...
Thumbs up.
So we're not sideways, right? We're like
No.
this.
Hey, and we're not sideways, right? We're
good?
Or we are sideways, but not...
Everybody good?
Everybody can see it good? Greg Sarlo, can you see it good? Tessa, everything good?
Right on.
Kara,
All right,
Tessa's
man.
waving. Hey, Greg gave us a thumbs up. Thank you. That's what we were waiting for.
That's what we needed. Here we are. Nah, don't touch it. You down with OCD? Yes, you know me. Okay, you guys, you are going to be blown away by this information. So many of you ask so many questions everywhere we go regarding CBD. Kind of the truth, the facts, what's up with CBD. There's so much jacked up information out here everywhere. So I'm Sean, if you don't know me. This is my buddy Steve. Say hi, man.
Hello.
So Steve and I have been hanging out for a few years out in Southern California. He's the guru, he's the man, he's the one with the proprietary, what do we call it, extraction process, right? That no one has. I've been in countless meetings with him, with all these so-called experts.
They're everywhere.
They're everywhere. And then I discover they're not really experts when they get the same room with this guy. So this is the man. He's the one you're all asking about. We're finally revealing after 3 years. So we're going to clarify all kinds of stuff, man. We're going to just have some fun and let you know really what all these questions that you have. We're gonna talk about your process. We're gonna talk about really just plant medicine. We're gonna talk about organic cannabis versus hemp. We're gonna talk about all kinds of good stuff. So I don't even know where to begin, man. There's so much. You've been involved, I think, a few years for me with CBD, and you're probably around 10 years now ish.
8 to 10, yeah.
8 to 10, man. Kind of that.
Well, it was literally before the hemp revolution. It was before vaporizing. It was before all of it.
Before all of it.
Yeah.
Eesh. So man, you've seen a lot. You've done a lot.
And I've waiting a lot for you all to catch up. That's what I've been waiting. I'm waiting a lot.
So we've taken what he's created, what Steve's created here, and we've worked with, as some of you know, the autism organizations, cancer organizations, cancer facilities in other countries. We know that real plant medicine, man, what it's capable of is remarkable. We talk about a little bit of the research how it was banned in the U.S. back in the Nixon era, and then Israel really kind of picked up the ball and ran with that, and they developed so much and figured out the endocannabinoid system and all these things. But let's just talk about, man, where do you want to start?
Well, I will say that a great resource for a clearinghouse for that a lot of that research is at projectcbd.org.
Yeah.
Very valuable information. They've gone through and weeded through research and data, and make it easy for us to digest, and have clarified a lot of it. It's very important stuff, because the basis, I found it way after what we've been doing, and it turns out we've been doing the right thing all along. Couple of key things that are very important. One, a big point is hemp versus cannabis, and then other is whole flower versus single molecule, taking the plant apart. So what we've created, what's completely unique about what we do, is we, with this process, leave the plant intact. Every other common norm process does some damage to the plant, strips some things away. A lot of it is concentrating because they're looking for higher counts of typically THC.
Right.
That's the most common thing we know about, because they want to elevate the THC so that they can get a stronger response. But what happens in plant medicine, if you're going to change the molecular structure of anything, if something's going higher, something's got to go lower.
Right.
So now we're doing some destruction to the plant, which is the antithesis of plant medicine. The key to plant medicine is leave the plant alone. So
Right.
We have a discovery that literally leaves the plant alone. Doesn't matter what plant we use.
Any plant. You guys can do any plant. Just so you guys know, you know how meticulous Tylene is and how we are with, we talk about plant-based, we talk about whole food, whole plant, all these different things. And that's what got us in alignment, with Steve in the first place, because he got it. And most people don't get it. They talk about maybe a piece of the puzzle that's correct, but they miss other pieces of the puzzle, and they jack it up, man. That's what happens. So,
yeah.
And it's all about. I mean, just keep
well,
going.
Here's the typical analogous response to that. All of medicine, pharmaceutical medicine, was a plant discovery at some point. They are literally scouring jungles. They spend a lot of money just endlessly scouring for a new element of use, and it always comes from a plant. But then what they do is they identify, then they isolate, then they synthesize and amplify. Okay?
Right.
So they've taken the original plant and they're trying to reproduce it and just that one part that works. But with plant medicine, you need the whole thing. That we know. So the key is, how can you leave that plant alone? I mean, you can juice it. That's probably the closest thing any of us can do. Right. Is just put it in a blender and drink it. So that will give you the whole plant. But eating it means you have to go through your digestive system and you start losing things. And
right.
Tylene has explained that to you over and over and over, I'm certain. So the same thing applies. But what we've created does leave the plant intact, and we know this because we test the plant prior to, and we see a profile, and then we test the fluid after, and we have the same profile. We have a lesser degree of potencies, but that doesn't matter. That's irrelevant because we've maintained the profile of the plant. When the plant is left intact, it's far more effective in its use, so you don't need as much. The other very, very unique thing about this fluid, and I always call it a fluid, and everyone refers to oil because everybody's experience is oil. This is not an oil. It is literally a fluid, and it's aqueous, water compatible, which means you can drop it in water and it dissipates. Why is that important? Because that means it's bioavailable. Your body uses it instantly. Here's the easiest tell on that. If you look at all of these hemp products out there, and I mean all of them, and that's what everybody's CBD experience is, it's literally 99% single isolate, industrial hemp isolate. Their typical dose in the same size bottle a lot of you are familiar with is the whole dropper. The whole dropper is 20 drops. That is a measurement, okay? That means that 15 milliliter bottle gives you 15 doses. To show you the efficacy, the effectiveness of what we're doing is, the suggested dosage is 2 drops. So think about that. That's literally
huge difference, man.
10 times, you need 10 times less because we've done 2 things. We've identified the proper plants, we've done the proper extraction, and then we're giving you the best delivery. So we are literally as close to leaving the plant intact as anything else that's out there. And
it's kind of like,
it's pretty interesting.
For people who know Tylene and I and what we teach, and we talk about whole foods and whole plant and
we call it whole flower. We call it whole flower.
Yeah. Like with vitamin C, we teach about that, how you can't just take a little piece of that concentrated portion. Vitamin C's, real vitamin C's got the whole molecule. It's got the multiple parts.
It's called an orange.
It's called an orange, right?
Yeah.
But they jack that up. And so let's talk a little bit about the process on the extraction side, because you're really unique from the standpoint of it's any plant. The end result's aqueous. Our body's mostly water, not oil. That's kind of silly. So I have to think that the body's going to accept that more, right?
We're always chasing bioavailability because we're mostly water. So if something's water soluble, water compatible, we're going to absorb it. Our body does not absorb oils. Our body doesn't like oils, whether we eat them, apply them. Why does oil stay in your skin so long? Your body doesn't want it. When you eat it, why do you feel it? It stays in your system. Sometimes your body doesn't absorb it. So oil's not the best method for delivery, but because we're aqueous, we're water compatible, we go literally right in as soon as it hits your tongue.
Super unique from that standpoint. Some of you have seen, some of our products that we do, and we do all kinds of different types of products, from droppers to sprays to salves to, it just goes on and on and on. But we're talking about during that process of you're not using chemicals.
No.
I mean, typically someone's using alcohol, butane, propylene glycol, maybe CO2 would be kind of the cleanest
Supercritical
of the dirty.
CO2 is the most common used now for extraction, but listen, it's a little bit that's a little bit of a misnomer because it's not an extraction, it's a concentration.
Okay.
So supercritical CO2 is concentrating, chasing certain molecular structures, not in its entirety. Okay? Because originally it was designed for in the THC world. It made sense.
Right.
We want a stronger product. Let's keep bringing, concentrate that THC up and get everything else out of there.
That's what they were doing.
For plant medicine, you've lost your value. So cannabis that is high in THC has great medicinal value, but you've destroyed it. Now they're applying that to CBD. So here's typically what you see on the CBD market. You see a hemp product which already is very, very, very low CBD and has almost no adjoining cannabinoids, terpenes, and flavonoids. So it's very deplete for medicinal value. However, there was a discovery that there's trace amount of CBD, so I don't want to be rude, but the hemp pirates decided to just start concentrating the heck out of that.
Yep.
And all they're pulling out is a single molecule.
Hempsters.
The hempsters. They're pulling out industrial hemp isolate, single molecule CBD. So the analogy is what you just gave earlier is the difference between an ascorbic acid vitamin C pill from Costco and an orange.
Right.
So with hemp CBD oil, you're getting one CBD molecule. So that's why they require such high dosaging, just to hope it's going to work.
So what do they mean then by saying? I see all kinds of crazy marketing on these hempsters. Some will say now with no THC. I mean, you got to have at least a trace amount.
There has to be a trace amount of THC.
It's a power couple.
When the
CBD
plant's
and
left,
the
the plant left in its. If you leave the plant alone for the plant medicine, and you look at high CBD cannabis plants, they have a whole profile. There's a couple hundred cannabinoids in there, and THC is a very, very low dose of that.
Right.
But it's a catalyst. You need the THC to activate the CBD.
Okay, how is it that they talk about full spectrum hemp? What does that even mean?
Full spectrum hemp. Boy, is that a marketing scam. Yeah, full
What
spectrum.
does that mean?
Sure, full spectrum what? The plant with the most minimal amount of medicine. But that's also I would say that's fraud, because if you're going to comply with the legal technicality of hemp, it has to be culled from seed and stalk. Okay, and that's why they're concentrating so high on it. But think about it. This plant is already concentrating heavily. It concentrates metals, water, dirty water. It's a concentrating plant, and then they're taking and concentrating out the little bit that's in the seed and the stalk. Okay,
Well,
let's start with that.
Okay.
Okay, so first of all, it was already deplete in most of the medicinal value of a high CBD cannabis plant. So even if you did pull that whole plant out, you're pulling out the medicine's in the flower. So you didn't pull from the flower. So it's a little bit misleading. What I don't like about that, it does some good, and we're happy for that. But what I don't like is it's misleading. So a whole lot of people are not going to get the response they're looking for, and they're going to think that everything we do doesn't work.
It's so frustrating when I hear people, I tried CBD and it didn't do nothing, and then they try something that we have, and then it works for them. But man, there's just millions and millions of people who are jumping on the online blah, blah, blah. I've seen some of these direct selling companies out there. They're hyping their people up, man. And I just see all these posts. It's ridiculous. Not that all of them are bad. There's some medicinal value in some of that.
Kindly say it's highly misleading.
Highly misleading. And if someone's going to do something, man, I want the best. I want what's going to do the most for my body. That's what my body's looking for.
Well, we're just this little group, underground group, and it's how do we get out to the world? Well, we use your voices. You have a big voice, and all your people have voices, and you just keep sharing.
A voice, man.
All we can do is keep sharing. You've grown, wonderfully in the last 3 years.
So let's talk about. So we talked a little bit about hemp and cannabis, and we talked about kind of we got airplanes going over too. So hopefully that's okay.
Fly to the moon.
Yeah, we can start singing if we want. What? Man, there's just so many pieces of this. What do you want people to know about? You've already talked about some key pieces.
Okay, let's talk about why does it work.
Why does it work?
This is the most common thing, because if I didn't see this myself, if I didn't see the testimonies myself, I would not believe that. Okay.
We get a bunch of them.
I'm a cynical, kind of skeptical person, so I have to experience something and I come from a typically cynical point of view, so that when it's proven right to me, I go from believing to knowing. I need to know.
Right.
Okay. So it's crazy because there's the experience across the board. It helps for so many maladies. It's snake oil. I feel like I'm on a wagon train in the, with my super tonic, bringing up the town.
Yeah.
Why is that? How is it possible this could work for so many things? Very simply, most maladies, the core issue for most maladies in our body is inflammation. You might have heard Tyler talk about it.
Yeah.
Inflammation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just a bit.
Well, inflammation's the core problem. Most pharma drugs, treat symptoms. Okay. They don't necessarily cure the problem. They're treating the symptom. So if you keep treating the symptom, you haven't solved the problem.
Right.
Amen.
So since the core issue is inflammation, we have an endocannabinoid system that is highly receptive to the cannabinoids of this plant.
Right.
And it goes directly to inflammation. So how can it help 25 different things? Because the core issue of those 25 things was inflammation.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it really is that simple.
And that endocannabinoid system, I mean, no one knew. No one knew that existed. Now that
the medical people knew because they're reading about it in their books.
In their books, but it's like it really was brought to light in Israel, right? Wasn't
well,
Israel
it didn't.
kind of
It was just, I think when you're a patient and you're a practitioner and you have to see 20 people a day, you just want to give you the most efficient way of information and to explain to you the endocannabinoid system isn't particularly valuable to you in the doctor's office.
No.
It's not going to explain a lot because the truth is there's nothing they're doing that's equating with that.
Yeah.
We just happen to have a discovery that our endocannabinoid system is highly receptive to the cannabinoids from these plants.
So, if you could give kind of like a comparison of, let's say, organic cannabis, the right strains, the way you extract, fluid, not an oil, absorption, we talked about that, in let's say a hemp plant that's extracted in one of those methodologies. I always kind of look at it like this. Maybe this is really goofy. It's just kind of my visual. It's like being able to get the entire alphabet of all these cannabinoids, these secondary cannabinoids, terpenes, etc. And then over here on the hemp version, I'm really just kind of getting.
It's a very abbreviated. It's a very small piece. It's not complete for the value we're looking for.
Okay.
It's insufficient.
And this is a really frustrating thing to us. We know how much real plant medicine can do for people. This is super frustrating, that piece. The next piece is so wrong, so jacked up, is no one talks about the cost per dose.
Oh, well.
No one talks about it in these direct selling companies that are out there. I love direct selling. I love it. It's wonderful. These online guys and these bandits out there that are just selling poo. I don't know what they're putting in their bottles, but I challenge all of you to look at your cost per dose of your product. It's ridiculous, man. I've seen them anywhere
do
from
simple math. Okay, so let's say those bottles are $50 a bottle. I'm sure that's a low end.
That's pretty low, but okay.
Okay, guess what? The dose is a milliliter, a dropper. You got 15 doses in that bottle. So at $50, you're paying $3-4 a dose, right?
Right, and I've seen some of these direct selling companies, man, up to $25 a dose.
Okay, well there you go. So when you go down, those bottles have 15 doses. Our bottles have 150 doses.
It's just ridiculous. So it lasts way longer, obviously, because you're not I would say overdosing, but over medicating. That's another thing.
Because it's useful, you're absorbing. Your body's utilizing every drop of it, so we don't need a lot of it.
Give your body what it needs, right? Let it start to do its thing. Yeah, it's pretty wild.
I mean, that's really what you have to get to it. Some people think that's too much to explain, but really, how much are you paying per use? Period. You know how much your water costs you, or your drink, or you go to a restaurant, you know what a meal costs, right? I mean, let's just So we always, 100% of the time, come in far more cost effective.
So I don't know if this will be too complicated for people who are just kind of learning. Most people that I've talked, there's so many people, they don't know the difference between THC, which tends to, that's kind of the part of the plant that gets you the high effect.
Tetrahydrocannabinol, and CBD is cannabidiol.
right? Which
Yes. Tetrahydrocannabinol
more on the healing side. On the
well, they're both.
They both have healing
they're
properties.
both healing properties, but we're using one for recreational benefit, which is to get high. Okay?
Right.
Because that plant produced a high, and people weren't paying attention to the medicinal value so much. They were chasing the recreational side. But tetrahydrocannabinol is prominent
Yep.
for that species, and cannabidiol is prominent for CBD-rich species. They're in both. They need to be in both.
Yep.
But they both have medicinal value. They both do amazing things.
Right.
One has psychoactivity and isn't for everybody.
Yep.
Because you'll get similar benefits.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Particularly with pain.
Yeah.
But how do you control that dosing so that you're not just out of your mind?
Okay, so let's address this because this is very confusing. And I don't know if it's too complicated or not. One of the questions that always comes up is milligrams.
Yeah.
And they're trying to compare, it's like an apples and oranges comparison. You really can't do that. But so can you just talk about that a little bit?
This is the most confusing thing I have to deal with every day in this industry, and people continually go, how many grams in each drop? Or how many grams in your dose? I'm like, okay, gram is a dry weight of solids, and milliliters is a liquid weight, is a liquid measurement. They're different, but everyone keeps confusing the two. Milligrams.
The milligrams.
Even though milligram is actually a dry weight, it is a measurement for dosing.
Right.
But I just hate to say it, but the CBD folks, the hemp people, have you so confused about these milligram requirements. It's all over the board. The reality is, if you leave the plant intact, that's kind of irrelevant.
Right.
Okay? The milligram of just the CBD is irrelevant to the whole spectrum.
Right.
So our drops have 25 milligrams of whole flower fluid, the whole spectrum.
In a drop.
In a drop.
Right.
Okay? It's the whole plant. So
the whole plant. You can't compare that.
No, you can't compare that.
You just...
Now, even people that are starting to use this proper plants, high CBD cannabis, but they're using the improper extraction because they're putting it through the supercritical CO2 just like they are with THC. They're doing the same thing as what the hemp is doing. They're reducing the rest of the plant and increasing the CBD level. The potency for CBD is irrelevant.
Right.
It's a light switch. It's on or off. It either works or it doesn't. You either took enough to get an effect or you didn't. More doesn't do more. You've hit the receptor and you're performing your task. So when you put the right plant through the wrong process, you end up in the same place.
Gotcha. Yep. No, it makes sense. I mean, we do it so many ways, whether it's a dropper, a spray, a vape,
well, I mean,
topical.
Okay, so our vaporizers are true vaporizers. Okay, so this is one of the bigger fallacies in the entire industry. Oil doesn't vaporize. Hello?
Hello?
They're called vaporizers. Oil doesn't vaporize, or you would not have spots on your driveway. The sun would just evaporate them. They do not. Okay, so oil doesn't vaporize, so all those burners are burning oil at a low temperature, which is very problematic. That's why when you hit those, you always cough, and you feel it. You feel it in your throat, and you feel it in your lung. Because you're burning oil at a low temperature, which has health issues. I mean, I guess the analogy is riding your bike behind a diesel bus.
Oof.
Okay? I mean, literally.
That's not cool.
So because we're water compatible, we're true vaporization.
Right.
Which typical response when you use our vapor cartridges is, oh, did I get any? Because you don't feel it. You should not feel vapor. Vapor is vapor. So it's more efficient, it's more effective, and it's certainly more healthful.
I'm going to kind of lean over towards Tai, as the grandkids call her. Is there any, because we're not reading anything.
Everybody is loving everything, but they would also like to know just some testimonials, things like what does it work on? There's a lot of questions of why they should take it. So, what if they're healthy? Why should they take it? That sort of thing.
Well, certainly from being from being healthy, you want to take it from a preventative standpoint. I've lost both my parents to cancer. You can look at your own research and talking about real health. If you have the right cannabinoids, real cannabinoids, like CBDA as an example, right? I believe is really good in the cancer environment.
CBDA is huge, and our process just happens to preserve the CBDA in its finest form.
Perfect, and that's really getting those cancer cells to kind of turn on themselves.
By the way, that's
huge.
Monumental. Yeah.
It's ginormous.
Yeah.
It's ginormous. There are so many things that we get. We get testimonials. I can't tell you how many we get every day from, man.
You got one today. I had a great one. Kid with Tourette's. Now I've known it worse.
Sure.
But
it's
really hard. It's really hard to get people. I understand why someone wouldn't just give their kid some of this. I mean, I understand thinking it, but then I go back to this is just plant. This is a plant. This is just liquefying the plant. That's the best explanation. So when I talk about, but you give your kids, pharmaceutical chemical products. Now here's the thing: even when those help you, they harm you.
They harm you
because they harm your organs, your liver. I mean, even when they help you, they harm you. With plant medicine in this pure form, even if it doesn't help you, it certainly doesn't.
It's not going to harm you.
So I understand the reluctancy, but when you look at the reality, it's no different than eating a carrot.
Yeah,
that's really the best way to put it.
Man, God put that plant here, man. It's been on this planet.
I mean,
long time.
That's one way to look at it. So if you're perfectly healthy, I mean, if the data's right, it's worth the bet.
That's right.
Okay, that's I look at it like, okay, if it does some of the amazing things they say, then I'm betting with it,
man.
But everybody has aches and pains.
So pain, inflammation. The we've talked about seizures, we've talked about autism, we talked about anything with the brain, man.
That's amazing nerve things.
Concussions, nerves. You take your endocrine system, your nervous system, everything kind of starts communicating and firing, I guess, correctly. Some people may sleep better. Some people just are happier, man, because everything's firing.
I've heard so many things that I would not believe if I did not get them.
No, I know.
Now I have just a plethora of testimonials. I probably forward them to you. I never edit anything except I change one word every single time. I change the word oil to fluid.
Yeah, everyone wants to call it
oil because, of course, that's the normal experience. So I get that, but we're not an oil, we're a fluid. That's the only time I ever edit. If you read through the vast array of testimonials I provide, they clearly are not the same person writing them all. I mean,
no, dude, we get them every day, man. We got people watching right now. They love what you've created. It's changed their lives, their families' lives.
I have a really high concentration of senior citizens.
Yes,
because. And the beauty is, one is, when you go in you have an issue and you go to your doctor, they just go to the line and prescribe a drug.
That's it.
But when the older you get, as your body starts to decline, you start causing effects. You start doing harm. So they give you another pill to offset that pill, and this pill to offset that pill.
That's it.
So now you have a regimen, which you lost the whole point of what you were doing.
Right.
And so often, that whole regimen is, the cure is worse than disease.
Yeah.
So the beauty of what we do is I do have a lot of senior citizens that are just saying, I want to try something, I'm tired of this. And as soon as they get a great result, and they always get an offsetting result.
Yeah.
Like, oh, it also helped my arthritis. This is what is the most common theme of all is, I'm not in a fog anymore. I actually am not in a fog. I'm not on the. I'm just like motivated. I have energy.
Anxiety, depression.
I mean, to me, that's the greatest gift. It's such a good
hand raised over here.
Will it show up on a drug screening?
No, it will not show up on a THC test.
And then, let's see, kids. Can kids take it for ADD, that sort of thing?
Yes, absolutely.
We have our grandkids that have used the product, and
this has gone into ICU for kids.
Yeah.
What have you found is the best way for kids to take it?
Well, if your kid,
does it have a flavor?
This is interesting. So one of the first experiences I had with kids happened to be an autistic kid, and I had no idea what the response was, but it was a close family friend, and they were open-minded enough to willing to try it. The result was actually very quick and shocking, and I was, okay, this is an anomaly. Possibly, whatever, it's great because the response wasn't, oh, we think it's helping. It was like life-changing, which to me was
drops.
What a gift! Yes.
Just under the tongue. Is there
okay? So I'm going to tell you why. This is why I'm telling you the story. But quickly, before I wanted to just go with that one person, we got it to 6 families, and 100% of the time they got an amazing result. And every time the result wasn't, we think it helped. Every time it was, oh my God. One of them was, I got my child's personality back. Now, the flavor the taste can be a little pungent for kids because it's a strong tasting plant. But you can put it in any of their drinks. This one kid, 6 years old.
It's water compatible.
Okay, this is the amazing thing about the flavor, why I'm telling you the story. This one kid is 6 years old. He noticed quickly that he correlated that fluid with his response and feeling better, and he wanted that fluid. He knew he wanted to feel better. He wanted that flavor. We did try to put it in his in another delivery in a drink or on his food. No, he wanted the fluid because he knew that flavor was going to make him feel better. So that's, you never know how it's going to go.
No.
We've also had kids that just, weren't having it. And I have seniors that don't like that taste.
So people that don't know about any of this stuff are asking about edibles, the difference, and then can you use yours to bake with, all that. Is there...
Okay, so edibles, the problem with edibles, again, those are all oils. So you have the issue with digestion with oils is a problem. The other problem with edibles is they have to go through your entire digestive tract. So we don't know how long that's going to take to hit. Is it 25 minutes? Is it 45 minutes? Typically, if you're taking something, you want a pretty quick response. We know when the drops hit the tongue, they go in. Yeah. So you get a much quicker response. We know with the oral spray, when you hit the top corner of your mouth, we've measured this through scanning, and it is literally instantaneous.
It's even faster, right?
It's the fastest delivery, and it has the highest absorption ratio.
Right.
It is insane. It is over 95% absorption ratio.
It's
the closest thing is at 65%. Pills are at the bottom.
Yeah.
Because a pill or an edible or anything has to go through your digestive tract. What's in there?
Yeah.
How's your body responding? What's it pulling? And it's like never the same. So if you look at the pharmaceutical industry knows that they only need a little bit to hit the target, but they have to send a lot in to make sure it hits.
Make sure, yeah.
That's why
it's like synthetic vitamins. It's the same
you
kind
don't
of
know
thing.
you don't know how it's gonna how you're
take
gonna get
a
it.
gazillion milligrams of this or
so
whatever.
I'm just not an advocate of edibles at all at any level for anything, especially in the recreational world.
They measure the dose.
They're uncontrollable, and it's never replicatable.
No, it's never replicatable. You don't know what you're gonna get.
We know exactly what we're getting every single time. So edibles, cooking with it. No, this is water soluble. It's going to evaporate. So if you want to put it on food, put it on after.
A lot of people put it on their pet food.
Yeah, the pet's great.
Drop it right in.
Oh, that's when we just
right.
The
pet
discovery
spray,
for
pet
pets.
drops.
For pets, they respond to this like amazing.
Yeah.
Now, I have a 14-year-old lab. Everybody knows labs should not be 14 years old.
Right.
3 years ago, when she started declining heavily, because she had a great life, running down to the beach every day, but she started limping so hard, and that's typical joints, and that's that breed.
Yeah.
I just took a shot and started giving her the drops, and man, within days. So she's 14 going on 15, and she does not limp anymore, and she still wags her tail. And
it's so awesome, and that's your personal experience. I mean, we've had so many people we've saved. They're saying, "You saved my dog's life. It's like a puppy again, or whatever it is."
Yeah, I heard it a lot of times.
And Tylene and I used with Betty the cat. She took her first flight from Chicago to San Diego.
Betty's the stoner?
Betty's now a stoner. We just sprayed her. She went from
calming.
She just calmed down, man, and it was.
But I think don't put it in their water. Animals know if their water's contaminated, they won't drink it. You have to put it on the kibble, on their food.
Put it on the food.
So someone's asking, a 25-pound, 2-year-old with epilepsy, how many drops would you actually give the child?
1 or 2, a couple times a day.
1 or 2, a couple times a day.
Yeah. And you know what? We've been in the ICU with an epileptic child and sneaking it in because they were not, when you have a severely epileptic situation, they just take you out. I mean, and then it's horrible.
How quick do people usually see results?
Anywhere from immediately to within a day or two.
Yeah, I've seen some of the autism. It's like they just kept doing it. It took them like 2, 3, 4 weeks, and then it was like, oh my gosh, they start measuring the change. But a lot of people, it'll be like instant. Sometimes people take it and they'll say, "Am I supposed to feel this traveling down my neck to the?"
Everybody, there's different responses.
Or the bottom of my feet are really warm.
I seem to think that and this is just my theory, is the more you need it, the faster you feel it.
Yeah, it is. I can't tell you how many times we've been standing in front of someone and they said, "Am I supposed to feel it this fast?"
That always blows my mind because I've heard you say,
it's crazy.
No, I have seen it for pain happen pretty quick where you just put it on.
For pain.
And I've sat with people that's like, no, this isn't going to work. I'm like, okay, they put it on. I'm like, wait, I haven't bent my knee in 2 years.
No, it's insane. I haven't been able to lift my arm up. Look at my arm. Look at my arm. And they're look at my arm. I've got my arm up.
I'm going to give talk about the placebo effect because it helps for all things. It works 30% of the time. But that's okay if you get a result. And I'm going to account for that. I'll acknowledge that. That's probably why hemp works so good. But
it's that placebo percentage.
But the response is usually pretty quick. I mean, I think that the majority of the responses are within a couple days. And sometimes it is like almost instant.
Almost
it's pretty
instant.
amazing. I do believe the more you need it, the quicker your response.
I agree with it.
What got you so passionate about doing CBD when everybody was doing all kinds of other things in this industry? What made you want to do CBD?
Like, instead of going from THC to...
All right,
exactly. There's so much money to be made in the other industry. So what made you...
All right, kids. No one's going to believe this.
Should we shut the camera off?
No one's going to believe this.
But
when I developed this, it was for cannabis. It was for THC. This was before vaporizers. They did not exist. And I was working with electronic cigarette models. If you've seen our Green Sticks Botanicals line, they still look like electronic cigarettes, the originals.
Yep.
Okay? So I was trying to make this work, and I did have a serendipitous discovery. It's luck. Thank you. I'll take it. And then I've refined it. And I was going after that market first because it did not exist. And I would share this with people because we preserve the plant. It tastes like whatever plant you preserve from. So I would have people try this, and they always went, "Oh, is that marijuana?
Right.
That tastes like marijuana." And I'm like, "Yeah," because if you capture the flavor, flavor's indicative of your process. Very, very important. Anybody in this industry will tell you. If your flavor tells you what's occurred. So that started happening. Now it's not a concentrate; it's an extraction, so it's not a hardcore high. I call it functional medication. It was controllable.
In the THC environment.
Yeah, I say that it's the beer and wine
of cannabis.
I have the beer and wine of cannabis.
Not the tequila.
But everybody's slurping tequila. So I have
vodka, vodka.
I have to wait for the beer and wine drinkers to show up. So if you look at the end of Prohibition, everybody was drinking whiskey, rum, and bourbon. There was no beer and wine. Right? So I knew that I was way ahead of the curve on that, and I have to wait it out. So I actually started getting a little bit of traction in the local market with the vaporizers because it was completely unique. No one had experienced it. But then those vape things hit, and dude, I was like bear. I got just avalanched.
Dirty vape.
I was just like, I came crawling out. I came from crawling out into the thing. I got left behind. But I had played with CBD a little bit, which was unknown. Hemp thing hadn't happened yet.
It hadn't even happened.
No, this was prior to all of that. And so I started looking at the medicinal side and going for I found some, and it took a lot of effort to find some high CBD cannabis. I had to literally go all the way to Northern California. The process worked, and I started experimenting with people, not even knowing. I literally didn't know what we had in our hands here.
Yeah.
But I was getting a response right away. Oh, it helped this. Oh, that. Okay,
Yeah.
the pain right away. Like immediately, it was like, whoa. The reason I say that is because vaporization is the quickest method because it goes directly into your lung, which is right into your bloodstream.
Right.
So people are afraid of vaporizers.
I
what
understand.
makes yours really different?
It's not oil. It's true vaporization. It's like steam.
So
steam is harmless because we don't have any chemicals in it.
No,
it's
like
not propylene glycol.
Right.
It's not propylene glycol. It's a true vaporization, so it's clean. I understand the connotation to smoking, and I understand that's one of the reasons I switched over. I literally never thought I would be anything but that e-cigarette vaporizer. That was my intent. But there was some backlash, particularly when we started playing with the herbal formulations.
Right.
If you're in the herbal world, the last thing you want to do is a connotation of smoking.
Right.
So it just was like...
They didn't understand it was more like
I called
a
it green
nebulizer.
sticks and made it green and tried to make it not look like a cigarette. But,
I mean, when Tylene was first teaching me back in the day about it, when it was like, she goes, Sean, it's like putting your face over a big pot of herbal tea, all this good stuff, you're just inhaling that in. I mean,
but it's true, and then certainly doctors are not going to recommend smoking burning plant material, but then vaporization has a connotation of it, so I totally get that. So I was like, I got hit again with another avalanche. So we come out with the first vaporizers, and we get hammered.
Yeah.
Then we figure out the CBD world, and that where we really started to make traction. Yeah. And then the hemp pirates showed up and
the hemp pirates
got buried again in the rubble.
Came to shore.
Coming out of the, oh God, I got to dig myself out of the rubble again. I got left behind again. Man, is this going to go on forever? Am I ever going to make this happen?
No.
Then we started playing. It turned out I had the tincture the whole time, but I didn't know it because I was vaporizing it. I didn't even know.
I mean, in the bottle, man.
This is what happens when you're the creator. You don't always know what you have.
Yeah.
And a lot of discoveries are something didn't work and you ended up over here. That's just called serendipitous discovery, and all great discovery, pretty much that's what occurs.
So there's a lot of people that are just now getting on. Do a quick recap of the beginning of why this is different.
Can we just hit replay?
Can we hit record?
Yes, but just a quick, like a short version.
There's no short version.
Of what makes it so unique.
We got to keep going forward.
What makes it so unique?
They're going to have to watch the recording. We love you, man, but we got to keep moving forward. We can't go backwards. We want to go forward.
All right, so let me keep going to where we were. So we're on the genealogy of how we got to where we are. So we've gone through all these iterations, then we hit the tincture. I'm like, tincture, who cares about tincture? And then the tincture thing started hitting, and we had some traction there for sure. But then again, I didn't know that. I didn't really understand what I had with the water solubility. Didn't even occur to me. I didn't even know what it was. I'd never dropped it in water. I didn't know. So that's when our greatest discoveries came.
Okay, hold on. Remember the greatest discoveries. You're going to pick up there. If you are just joining us, you got to understand something. This is a rare moment. This is super rare. You know, you hear Tyler talk about Dr. Edward Howell, the kind of the godfather of enzymes. Steve is who we call the godfather of CBD. Steve was doing CBD and researching and experimenting before CBD was even here. It wasn't even here yet. It wasn't even here. You guys, do you understand what's happening right now? You're listening to the man. This is the beginning. You're talking a decade of what's gone on and what he knows. He is the guru. He is the guy. I've sat in meeting after meeting with all these CBD experts, people who have spent millions and millions of dollars on investments, on extractions, on how theirs is the latest and greatest. Poo-poo. None of them have been able to handle his information. None of them knew what he knew. He blows their mind every time. If you're watching this right now, you guys, we just finally said, man, I just said, see, we got to do this. We've got to get the truth out there and share this. So listen, you better just hold on to what you're hearing. No one has heard this information before. This is a rare opportunity. You better get everyone to watch this live, because I don't know if this will ever happen again. No one has heard this information except some people who are very close to Steve or myself. You've got to spread this out. This is mind-blowing, and if you're just joining and you'll go back to the beginning, you'll understand why and where we're coming from. The great
Well, I may not come out from under my rock again. So.
Let's go. He goes under the rock for a while, but go ahead.
He likes to surf.
You might catch him out on.
All right, so then we figured out the tincture had great value because actually it worked on so many more platforms. Something to understand: most of the products that come out of the market, particularly in the form of oil, is to go into different delivery systems. They need to be reprocessed. Every time you reprocess, you do damage to the plant. Every time you touch it, you're going to do a little more damage to it. You also increase the cost. So the key is to how do we hold the most natural form as best we can. Amazingly, when this process is done, it's done. It doesn't have to be reprocessed, whether it goes into a water, whether it's a fluid, whether it's vaporized, whether you eat it. And a great discovery that I didn't discover, but an associate of mine did, which had maybe some of the greatest value with this fluid, is it works in those oral sprays. Those oral spray is a medical device. It's a meter dose. That is a controlled meter dose. That is the requirement for the medical industry.
Tylee's playing with the lighting, so if Steve's glowing right now,
you guys got dark.
You'll know what's up. He's an angel.
Speaking of the sprayers,
I've never been called an angel. I'll tell you that right now.
There's a few people on here that have tried the sprayers. They say the oral spray. They're reading on their label about it being energized, and they're asking, what does that mean?
Okay, I don't even know what that means because the guys I work with, that's a proprietary thing. I can tell you this. it literally increases its effectiveness by a factor of 4. I think that it has some kind of I don't know if it's a magnet or some kind of electricity. They charge it.
They charge it.
They
used to,
and what it does is it excites the molecules.
Right. They used to do this a lot more, and then there was some equipment that was kind of discouraged from the FDA for quite a while, and they were able to energize things.
Oh, that was the Rife guy.
The old Rife.
Okay, so I think what they're doing is they're exciting the molecular structure, and it definitely makes it more effective. The beauty of that oral spray is, one, no other product worked in it because all of them are oils.
Yep.
So it was totally controllable. That is the end game for the mass market for delivery.
Yeah.
Because it's controllable, it's small,
it's
everybody
dose,
knows
man.
what it is.
That's a medical device.
Fits in your pocket, it's unassuming. You're not under anybody's judgment. It's really the ultimate delivery. And there's going to be a THC line, there's going to be a recreational line of that as well.
Yeah.
The market's going through all these different requirements for legalization, so it's coming. So
many changes, man.
But it's the greatest delivery. It has the highest uptake and the quickest uptake. Yeah. So very excited about that. Again, I didn't plan that.
You know what?
That came through with an associate of mine who's a genius.
He's amazing,
and
man.
Those things. We're on all these deliveries for platforms. Everything you can think of to deliver this product.
What's super cool what we always like to do is we like people to taste the fluid first.
Yes.
So they can get the true essence of that plant medicine.
Okay.
Because it is kind of, if all you've ever done is a spray, it's like, it tastes like a breath spray. How can that be helping me? You know what I mean? So the mind sometimes plays with itself.
Sure.
And so we always say, this is what's in there. So try it. And some people just say, I only want the drops because I just love that feeling.
I agree with the flavor, and there's a lot of, some people said, hey, let's flavor it, let's change it. No, you're tasting the plant. It's critical that you understand that flavor is the absolute indicator of the extraction process.
Airplane.
We got airplane.
That's the absolute value of the process, and that we're leaving the plant completely intact.
So here's what happens. You already know that. I don't need to tell you this. You know this. I'm telling you guys this because we've done this hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands of times. Every single time someone tastes that fluid that has already tasted or experienced a CBD oil, not our CBD fluid, they always say either, oh wow, or oh my. Every time. They can't believe there's nothing else in there. It's the plant. No chemicals, no goofy flavoring added. They're like, they don't go back.
Now different tinctures of ours have different flavors because different plants have different flavor profiles. Right. So if you're using the botanical line and you're doing the relaxation, which is valerian hops kava kava, it tastes
that's
like
not even any CBD.
Yeah, it tastes like whatever we're pulling from.
Right.
So
and that's what's cool. You can pull from any plant.
You can pull from any plant.
I think that's
we're doing some stuff now. I mean, we can do some powerful things now.
Oh yeah, we won't get into that.
But no, I mean, the biggest one is to offset this opioid epidemic.
Oh, it's huge.
Because there's plants that have a super high efficacy of instantaneous response for addicts.
Yeah.
We're trying to get some more of it because we know we're going to absolutely be able to help a lot of people in the cleanest fashion. Because plant medicine is
harmless, man.
I can't say absolutely harmless because nothing really is.
Right.
But comparatively, compared to the harm that is done with synthetics, I'll just use that term, synthetics, compared to what's natural. I mean, most of us pretty much know that. And if you don't know that, call Tylene.
Look, hold on, Tylene, before you raise your hand. So part of the problem, you guys, is this, and I've met with a lot of these companies and big shots and big wigs. Look, let's just call it like it is. There's the business side. Now, we're into it for the healing side, but there's the business side of things. And it's hard for someone who has spent $500,000, $1 million, $2, $3, $4, $5 million on their extraction setup and their plants and these processes. It's hard for them to swallow this information, you guys. I mean, they just spend a ton of money and they have an inferior process with chemicals. There's something there. That's not an easy pill for them to swallow. They don't like that. You've crushed them all.
Well, they'll view me as a competitor, and I understand, and I am a competitor. Right. But the beauty of simplicity and efficiency is it's the art of of a more natural response,
right.
a more natural end product.
Right.
So the simpler you can go, usually the more natural you're
right.
going to stay.
Right.
And we're pretty simple.
I know. Ty?
Is there anything special about the plant that you're actually using?
Yes, absolutely.
Do you want to say anything about it without giving away trade secrets?
Well, you know, we've just identified ratios. Ratio is far more important than potency. The ratio of CBD to THC is absolutely critical, not the CBD potency, which everyone goes to. How many milligrams? I don't care how many milligrams. What's the ratio? We've identified the ratio is absolutely critical. And there's a short range to stay in, and we've identified the 3 most valuable plants that are in that range. Right. And you know, then we have to go work with people to produce those because they're not readily available.
Right.
They don't have a great market value on their own until we do what we do with it.
You do with it, right?
Yeah.
Got it.
Everybody is saying what they like, so you can tell them they're saying like, I like the fluid, I like the spray.
How's my shirt?
I like
okay.
Oh yeah, they like your shirt.
Okay.
Got the
they
blue.
like the wood paneling, which I'm surprised on.
Paneling, man. We're in the
No,
cottage.
that's because we're in Wayne's World right
They
here.
love it.
We're in Wayne's attic.
Oh, yeah.
Wayne's World.
They
What
have
about-
a paneling, you know.
Yeah.
What about, so if you do it topically, does it have anything to do with anti-aging? Because
Well,
you look so amazing.
I'll let you know in 20 years. I don't know how you. I know you guys do it, and I don't mean to clown it. I don't know how you sell anti-aging because I'm not going to know for 20 years. I can tell you this, that we have for quite a while now been seeing applications to the face because women have a concern with that, and the response is pretty good.
Yeah, it's
pretty overwhelming.
Although you were telling me,
I look pretty good for 70.
well, and you were telling me like you're out in the sun all the time.
Yeah, I'm in the sun every
all
single
the
day.
time.
Yeah.
So,
Every day.
Well, because I work with it, I do put it on my face. So,
Every day.
Yeah.
You guys, at some point, I'm gonna like kidnap Steve, and we're gonna do like a talk where we'll get somewhere where people can come in. There's so many questions. We've seen the emotions, we've seen the change in lives of people, and you know, we've been doing our kind of healthy lifestyle things, the gut health for so long, and a variety of things. It's we always teach everything starts in the gut, starts with our food, goes in the gut, so on and so forth. We know that this country's way too medicated. It's jacked up. We know that from pain medication, we know that depression, anxiety, we know all this crap's out there, and we want to wake people up. This, you guys, is part of Tylene and I's movement. This is part of what we've been doing. You know, we've been doing this for the last 15 years or whatever it's been, and only about 3 years-ish on the CBD side. Certainly not as long, you know, as Steve, but he's the one who educated us. We would have never gotten involved because everything we had researched on how people were extracting, what they were doing with hemp, etc. It wasn't who we were. You guys know what we're into. We don't care about the money aspect. We all want money. We need money. We use it. But it wasn't about what can we sell. In fact, we've turned down a lot of that stuff. Certainly before even CBD, whether it was in the supplement industry, we've turned down way too much money. And whether it's been in the CBD world, you guys, this is the real thing. This is why we're doing this Facebook Live, man. You need the knowledge, and then you need to apply that knowledge. This isn't judging. I'm not judging the hempsters out there. I'm not judging the companies.
Sounds like one.
They like that though. Everybody
But
says
I just
like
want
that
people to know the truth. Just like I want you to know the truth about your food. Just like I want you to know your truth about don't take a synthetic supplement or vitamin. Why would you do that? Just stick to nature the best that you can. And it's clear what we're talking about here is, man, you're trying to keep that plant, the efficacy of that whole flower, the plant medicine. People don't do that, you guys. It's about the freaking always follow the money. This guy's not about the money. This guy's about...
I don't have any money.
Plant medicine.
He's about surfing.
He's about surfing, man, and help people heal themselves.
Hey, I remember the exact moment when our very first discussion, and I was on the phone with Tylene. I think there was I'm sure it was a...
I was drilling you to see
I'm sure
if
that
this
you
was
were
good.
I was on a speaker.
Yes.
And I know the exact moment when it shifted for you was when I said that this is a whole flower, whole plant,
yep.
that I preserved the whole plant. I preserved the purity of the plant. I saw through the phone Tyleen's light bulb go off. And went,
that was
okay,
it.
that's it. That's
all she needed.
Yeah.
That was, because
all she needed.
Other than that, I would have just hung up the phone.
Well, listen.
East Coast.
We got to get jumping, man, because I'm really hungry. Are you hungry? Cause
yeah, I'm hungry.
We have to go.
I've been feeding him raw food.
Yeah, this raw food thing.
I need some food.
We need some
real
food.
Although people, I mean, Dawn in Florida, she wants a face cream. She wants an anti-aging face cream.
You guys, a lot of this stuff is on Sean and Ty. There's not a lot of information on there, but you know this. We don't. People always ask, well, where do we get this stuff? Because we don't market it. We're not trying to market it.
Direct message us.
Direct message
we'll get
us.
you the hookup.
You know, you can get the hookup. I mean, can I just send them to our site, Ty?
Sure, if you want.
So we got a little site. There's no information on there. It's an old website.
I want a site.
My site. It's Sean SEAN and AND Ty TY.
What's the site?
SeanandTy.com. There's some products in there. There's not any information in there. You're not going to see it in there. You can message me directly. You can message. Tyleen's just going to forward you to me, so you can message her if you want. But reach out to me. I apologize if it takes me a little while to get back to some of you.
Month.
A month. There's just a lot of people wanting what we got, and so we're grateful for you, man, that you took the time to do this and share with everyone. There's our big producer. Right?
Yes, that was it.
Right.
I don't only talk about enzymes.
Yes.
I'm also great with filming.
Yeah.
I wasn't so good with the lighting.
I'm not that great with lighting.
Yeah, it's dark now.
I know.
You watch from the beginning of this live. You can see us.
Now
you can't see us.
Hold on, there you go.
There's some light.
Wait, do a recap for all. There's a lot of people. Just recap
start
real
over.
quick.
We can just start
No,
over.
just recap.
Okay.
What's so different about it?
So here's the deal. Here's what's so
Here's the difference.
freaking
The plant,
different.
the process, the delivery.
Cost per dose.
Well, the cost per dose is there's no
Part of it.
It's literally there's no comparison. There isn't.
Nothing compares, you guys. Watch this thing. There's no comparison. There's none. There's none. It's like you can't even compare. It's apples and oranges.
It's not hemp.
It's not hemp.
It's not oil.
It's not oil.
And it's cheaper per dose.
It's less
and
per dose.
From a better plant.
From an organic plant, the
Right.
real plant,
I need
not
to
the
read that.
cousin
Right.
of the real plant, not the cousin, not using harmful chemicals to extract, not using CO2 extraction. That would be like the cleanest of the dirtier ways.
It's pretty clean. It's certainly clean, but what it does do is it does tear the plant apart. That's the point of
CO2.
what they're doing. Yes.
Yeah.
It's pressure.
Tearing it up.
It's pressure, temperature, and time, and distance, and length of time.
Yeah.
Is how they can alter it to get different molecules that they're chasing.
Right.
So, but you're chasing something all the time. You don't ever get all of it.
You guys, listen. We love you for watching. We're grateful for you. I don't want to be mean. I'm not. You guys know me. I'm a lover. I'm not a fighter. I don't mean to rain on your parade that you're out there peddling this hemp. Do it. If that's your deal, man, do it. If you want to make a bunch of money, you could probably make a bunch of money dealing with that. You want real medicine, plant medicine that's going to help people, this is what we're talking about. So there's no judgment here. It's all love. It's frustrating when people try that stuff from all those companies. They're all the same, you guys. They're almost all the same. There's
my thing is the easiest comparison is literally, and I'm talking about people with the greatest knowledge. Just taste it. That's all I do. Take one drop and taste it. I have never, ever, ever, not once, not gotten the response of, oh, that's the plant. And the more educated people are in the industry I'm in, the more they totally understand that flavors everything, because nothing else has that flavor.
You know what's different? I wasn't even going to give out our little website, and I did. What the heck? I'm not even going to repeat it. I don't care if you buy anything from us. Don't buy anything from us. I don't care. It doesn't matter. I care that you can help people. I'm a horrible salesperson. But here's the deal. I'm frustrated that this plant medicine that we have helps so many, and the other stuff rarely does. And part of that's placebo, part of it's because you want to believe it so you can make a bunch of money. It doesn't mean it can't do some good. It can. Some of those have some medicinal value. But why have this much medicinal value when you can give the body everything it needs? It doesn't make any sense. And this is less. This costs less. It's ridiculous. So it doesn't matter what, if it's the dropper, the spray, the topical, the vape, it doesn't really matter. It is what it is. This is the most informative, truthful, the most knowledge you'll ever learn from any Facebook video you have seen yet. If you don't want to accept it, don't accept it. But this is the truth. He is the man. He is the godfather of CBD. He's been doing this for about a decade. He is a creator. He's a manifester. He's an inventor. He is a mad surfing scientist in his own way. And he has crushed, just like I've watched Tylene crush these Harvard MDs about their knowledge when it comes to nutrition and the gut. This guy, there's not one person, I've met a lot, not one of them can stand up to this guy and just go at it. You guys, he's got the knowledge, and he continues to learn and grow. He's not an ego guy. He wants the information shared, and he's just doing it the right way for the right reasons, for the right thing, man. It's to help the universe. It's help.
Well, and people like Tony Wilkes, who's on here, who has been dealing with cancer.
Tony, what's up, man?
He's saying he loves the spray. So he's the oil sprayer.
And did he use a drop as well?
But that is a big difference. He knows that there's a big difference between this, and everyone's on here saying this is real. It's real. It's real.
Tony, man, we love you. So Tony's been. He was down in Mexico, in Tijuana, and in one of the facilities there, the cancer facilities.
He's already shared it with a handful of people.
He's just referred more and more people.
So good for him.
It's helping so many people, man. So what you're doing is amazing. You don't always get to hear that, see that, feel that. And we're just going to have to
start. They're all thanking you. Tessa saying hi to you, Bruce.
Listen, you don't realize the gratitude I feel that this landed in my lap to help people, because especially with the kids, I mean, to me it's a gift. And I treat it as a gift. I'm more grateful than you could imagine. It's just, and I treat it as such. I present it as such. I share it as such, and I couldn't be, more blessed that this landed in my lap.
You're super humble. We're super. Man, we're just lucky, man. We're lucky that the synchronicity all happened and that you're in our lives. You guys have a great night. Share this. Share this. Share this.
Watch it again.
You will be thanked for doing so. I'm going to ask Tai, Grandma Tai, come in here, Tai, to shut things off, because I can't
no makeup.
I can't even see it. No makeup.
Just CBD on my face.
Gorgeous anyways. All right, you guys. Peace
That's
out.
it.
We'll talk soon.
Thank you very
Young
much.
forever. Love you guys.